Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and the crazy spoilers continue today. You won't believe what they reprinted. I think they just chose a specific category of crazy and then themed each day after it. And today's theme is driver safety. Oh, wait, no, I got that wrong. It's, why did they reprint this? Who needed this? Why did we need this? Why? But without jumping straight into that, let's go for the two yesterday. First, we got Vampire of the Dire Moon. It's a 1/1 for 1 with Death Touch and Lifelink. I like it. It's an upgrade to the 1/1 for 1 that just says Death Touch. I mean, it's a giant attack deterrent. It's just a drop-in upgrade for that card in 2 of my decks. By the way, if you didn't know this, in core sets specifically, they put like the full reminder text for basically everything on as many cards as possible. So that's why they have the reminder for Death Touch and the reminder for Lifelink, if you thought that was weird or if you didn't notice. So next up, Bloodthirsty Aerialist. It's another vampire rogue actually, 2/3 for 3 in double black, flying, and whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Bloodthirsty Aerialist. Holy crap, we did not need a Flying Ajani's Pridemate, but I will say, double black, okay, not the easiest thing in the world to cast in a white-black Ajani's Life Gain deck. And the whole point of Ajani's Pridemate is that it comes in on turn 2. It's all about speed. It's only a mediocre card if you don't consider the speed. So this costing 3 is enormous. Mix it with the Temples, which are slow as hell. Okay, it might come out a turn late. And you might not have double black in the first place. So this really might show up late. But that said, I'm probably going to try to make it. I think that deck's definitely one I'm going to build. So next up, we've got a crazy reprint. This was one of the most hated cards in Standard at the time. Raise the Alarm. Now, by today's standards, in today's meta, it actually isn't that great. I mean, we've got a flash-in Death Toucher that's like a 2/2 for 2. But back then, it was highly disruptive to, at instant speed in the middle of combat on your opponent's turn after they've already swung, drop in 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens, and then double block, triple block, single block, double single block. I mean, whatever. Whatever you do, you just completely threw a wrench in their entire deck. So do not underestimate this. You can do an all black-white combat tricks deck now with 100% flash, seal away, this, the flash-in Death Touch Pirate, and then a bunch of like combat ambush boost, and you can just run the whole game like that. So next up we got Woodland Champion. It's a 2/2 for 2 Elf Scout. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, put that many +1/+1 counters of Woodland Champion. So this is actually a little bit more overpowered than anything that says, oh, my power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures in play. I mean, this is tokens only though, so like, oh, that only goes in really a tokens deck. But if somebody were to blow up those tokens later, you still keep all the +1s on this thing. It just doesn't apply to regular creatures though, so boy, I don't know if there even is a deck to drop this into. You'd have to go exclusively tokens to build around this, otherwise it wouldn't be big enough. Now that said, trigger it twice and you got a 4/4 for 2, so I mean, you know, maybe the whole deck doesn't have to revolve around her. Next up we've got Drawn from Dreams, or we got a very confused looking fish. That's weird. It's a 4-cost double blue. They're really going on the double colors for this. This is really strange. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put 2 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That is kind of absurd for 4. I mean, you're only getting 2 cards out of it for 4, but the golden rule of card advantage is that card advantage doesn't exist, okay? Drawing the correct card is infinitely more valuable than just drawing a card. If you're +1 on the opponent by drawing just 1 card off the top of your library and it was some land you didn't need, you just did nothing. You accomplished absolutely nothing. Your card advantage means nothing. All you did was get a card you don't want out of the way. Oh boy, what value. Now looking at the top 7 and handpicking 2, you just drew 2 of the most valuable cards in your deck in all likelihood. It can still whiff, but the amount of value you get for 4 on this is absurd. I am not looking forward to this in any Esper or Bolas deck. This is far better on the first casting than Chemister's Insight, but the whole point of Chemister's is that you can cast it twice, so I don't know if this will necessarily replace it, but I don't know. I'd be shocked if people don't play this. And oh my gosh, pre-release or draft? Oh my gosh. So next up, Elvish Reclaimer. It's a 1/2 for 1, and it gets +2/+2 as long as there are 3 or more land cards in your graveyard. You know, strangely enough, I thought this was a reprint, but it's not. But he also has the ability, pay 2, tap it, sacrifice a land, and then search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. So you gotta pay 2, and then the land that replaces it comes in tap. So this basically costs 3, and you lose the use of this in combat, which, whatever. But yeah, that's just a dumb, weird, roundabout way to like fix your mana, and it's an even dumber way to give him +2/+2. I mean, yeah, a 3/4 for 1 is cool, but Oh boy, I feel like this is so much better in Modern, and even then, I think it's kind of outshined by stuff. It gets that +2 a little late. Even with fetch lands, I think this whole lands in the graveyard thing, it's gonna go nowhere. It's too slow. Next up, Thick Cover, although they didn't make the character fat as hell. Missed opportunity there, they should have made him Thunder Thigh thick. So it's a 1-cost blue enchantment aura. You enchant any target creature, and the target creature gets +0/+2 and has tap, draw a card, and discard a card. I never did like that effect. I mean, honestly, this looks like it would help out a control deck, so I automatically hate it. A defensive creature that gets to the cards you want. I don't like that. Next up, this is the definition of why did they print this. Vial of Dragonfire. So it's a 2-cost, and you pay 2 and sack it, and it deals 2 damage to target creature. So this was one of the weirdest cards back in the day, because there was a card in Fate Reforged called Renowned Weaponsmith, and he said, pay 1 blue, tap him, search your library for a card named Heartpiercer Bow or Vial of Dragonfire, reveal it, and then put it into your hand and shuffle your library. So back then, there was 3 sets to a block, and the Tarkir block, which was one of the worst ever released in the history of the game, was Khans of Tarkir, Fate Reforged, and then Dragons of Tarkir. So Heartpiercer Bow was printed in Khans of Tarkir, and then this Weaponsmith was printed in the middle set, the Fate Reforged set, and then the Dragonfire card was only printed in Dragons of Tarkir. So the card was referencing a card that didn't exist. So people are reading it like, oh, I can go get the bow. Okay, what's the bow do? And I can go get this. Wait, what? Why can't I find this? What? This isn't a reprint. The card doesn't exist. How can I go get a card that doesn't exist? What kind of future sight crap is this? And really, honestly, nobody knows why they did it. I don't know if the staff ever answered that question. So people were doing fake mock-ups of the card with their best estimation of what they think it'll do, and they thought, well, Heartpiercer is such a piece of crap, maybe Dragonfire will actually be good, and then we finally got the spoiler of it, and people were like, wow, that's disappointing. Wow, we waited 3 months for this? Wow. So not only does this just scream something to do with artifact synergy in the next set, but also, obviously, Renowned Weaponsmith is going to be in this set. I can't imagine it wouldn't be, because, surprise, Heartpiercer Bow is in this set too. So it's a 2-drop. Whenever equipped creature attacks, Heartpiercer Bow deals 1 damage to target creature defending player controls, equip 1. So it's the weirdest, most roundabout way to do +1 attack, except that you can move it to a creature that you're not necessarily getting blocked by, and it happens before blockers are declared. So, I mean, I saw some people play it. Like, 1 damage is kind of weak, but it does mess with their blocking assignments, and you can just nuke a 1/1. And it's only a 2-drop, but it's 1 to equip, so it's dirt cheap. So it was pretty cool. So anyway, next up we've got Ogre Siegebreaker. It's a 4/3 for 4 in Rakdos colors. It's an Ogre Berserker, and if you pay 4, destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. I don't think anybody's ever truly made use of that effect. I don't know why they keep printing it. It's just like a weird, more exotic way to do, oh look, I boosted, this in combat. Like, oh, your 8/8 blocked my 2/2. Oh look, 6 more damage. But, this doesn't have a limit, and then you can't really surprise him with it because this already has to be in play. So, not a very well-designed card. And next up, dang it, I thought I was so freaking clever solving that one. I could have just looked ahead 3 cards. Renowned Weaponsmith. You already know what it does. Damn it. Whatever. You don't exactly need to call Miss Cleo Psychic Hotline to realize that this card was in the set. I'm not patting myself on the back that hard. Next up, we got Chevalier Diamond Edition. Hey, maybe this version doesn't have the muffler drag when you're on the highway. Guys, the Chevy Cavalier muffler clamp was made out of paper mache. So anyway, this is an artifact creature, also a knight, 3-drop, and it has vigilance, and when it enters battlefield, choose a color, because of course, almost anything with diamond in the name is an artifact that has something to do with colors. So, yeah, whenever you cast a spell with the chosen color, put a 1/1 counter on Diamond Knight. And if that sounds familiar, it's because core set M19 was the first print of Diamond Mare, which was an artifact horse. And you choose a color when it enters battlefield, and then whenever you cast a spell of the chosen color, you gain 1 life. Strangely, just didn't make the cut in anybody's Johnny's Pride made deck. So, I mean, yeah, it starts as a 1/1 for 3, but this can get out of control real quick, and it has vigilance. So, yeah, I think in a mono deck I would run this. Oh, look, they're promoting mono-colored again. That means something, and it's an artifact. I'm telling you, those 2 things mean something. And I don't think this set is going to explain it. I think the next one will. I'm calling it right now. Karn is investigating with those Borg people. Who the hell are they? I know the lore so well. Oh yeah, the Phyrexians. And he wants to go get the Silex and blow them up. So I think he's going to raise a artifact army. And it's going to be artifact, synergy, artifacts as mechanic. And then we're returning to New Phyrexia directly after that. So I think he'll stop on a different plane to build an army. and then probably solve their problems because that's what he does. And then after that, boom. And then Mark Rosewater will try to bring Infect back to the game, and then they will finally fire him. So anyway, next up we got Omnath, Locus of the Royal. So this actually isn't a reprint. We've had Omnath, Locus of Mana, and Omnath, Locus of Rage. And on both of those cards, Omnath ain't no frickin' joke. So this is a legendary creature elemental, very fitting to bring him back. Unfortunately, they went with 3 color. The first version of him was 1 color, the second was 2, and the next was 3. So somebody's been learning their magic. So he starts out as a 3/3, and then when he enters the battlefield, it deals damage to any target equal to the number of elementals you control. So another one of those. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, because landfall, everybody missed that so much. I actually thought landfall was great. That was the last time standard was actually playable. Put a 1/1 counter on target elemental you control. If you control 8 or more lands, draw a card. And remember, there's that other elemental that accelerates lands into either into play or into your hand. I don't remember. The problem is he's 3 colors. Now, those are the 3 elemental colors, but I don't know. A 3-color elemental, I just don't see it. I think people are going to limit it to 2, but then again, we got temples, so who knows? I don't see this as being above like a $5 mythic, unfortunately. Next up, we got, it's a cutie. It's Ferocious Pupper. And it's a cute little doggo behind him. We got Woofer, and then we got a little subwoofer. I'm going to put this card in decks that aren't even green. I love dogs. So anyway, it's a 0/1 for 3, and when Ferocious Pup enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, aka Mama Wolf. Still grand total for 3 mana, not very good, but I don't know. Wolf Tribal, Wolf ETB, all that wolf crap, that'll do something. I vaguely remember something to do with wolves, but honestly, I thought some of them were in Modern Horizons. Well, that was bears, but I thought it was wolves too. I don't know. Who knows? This probably ain't gonna go anywhere. It's a common. But it's so adorable. Yes, I know wolves aren't technically dogs. Get over it. Shut up. Next up, we've got, I don't know, Dragao, Adaz. I don't know. They don't even translate Adaz. I guess that's a proper noun? I have my doubts. Oh, you know what? I think that's actually pronounced dragon. That's what the little squiggly bar is for above the A. So anyway, this is Adaz Dragon, and it's a 5-cost red dragon creature, flying. And when it enters battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens, because apparently we're not done with that. I mean, that's a mechanic I could see in the next 10 sets. I love treasures. And, you know, if it's not that, it's geodes or whatever. Like, you know, it's not like it's the first time they've ever done this. So, I mean, honestly, unless you're getting a tribal boost from, like, some kind of dragon thing with Sarkhan, there's no reason to play this even with the 2 treasures. I mean, if you got 5 mana, you probably don't need a whole lot more. I mean, in red, yeah, a lot of stuff costs 6, so it would be nice. But, I don't know. It's single use. It just doesn't seem that good. Next up, another mythic, and I believe this is part of a cycle because it's triple black, and I think I remember that, but I'm also really tired today. So it's a 4/5 for 5, and it has lifelink, and it's an elemental knight, black elemental. I think this is the second one. Oh boy. And when it enters battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. Oh good, that's what we needed to help aristocrats out. When you do, destroy target creature and opponent controls, so basically bone splinters. And then when it dies, return target creature card with a converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's kind of nice, you know, put a limit on it, keep it reasonable. That's how all free casting should be. So I think in a mono black deck, that's almost the only time you'd bother throwing this in because of the cost. But yeah, this dude's good. He's actually not a zombie though. So it's like, ooh, there goes one deck he could go in. He's probably just going to have to be, oh no, my life total's under 10. Hey, drop him in lifelink 4/5, one of your creatures is dead. Death Trigger guy. I mean, you could probably put him in white black Afterlife, which there are versions of that get kind of Death Trigger on purposey, and that is on my list to build. I kind of have a prototype of it right now, so you'll probably see that in the near future. Next up, we got clearly a Wizards of the Coast employee, Agent of Treachery. They obviously work in R&D. It's a 2/3 for 7, so do you hear that? Do you hear that noise? It's the jet landing in Value Town. And when it enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. Oh boy, and you thought In Bolus's Clutches was too much at 6. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents that you don't own, draw 3 cards. Oh, this card was designed for me. I mean, not only back in the day did I literally have a deck called Kid Ramper, which was ramp mixed with kidnapping. And of course it ran Kefnets and that other one, that X-based one. But now I've got Thief, which I could convert to run this easily. But I mean, like I said, In Bolus's Clutches is 6, this is 7. I don't know about this. But then again, I mean, Mass Manipulation, that is a ramp deck, straight up. So we might see a Simic version of this, and then even better, you could clone this guy. That's what Simic does. You can just pop out quasi-duplicates, steal 2 more things, and then immediately draw 3 cards. You need 10 mana to do it in 1 turn, but in 2 turns, hey, split it. Next up, we've got, oh, Jim Carrey's going to be in this set. It's the mask. So this is allegedly Immolation Mask. It's a red artifact. Oh, pardon me. It's a blue artifact. And when Immolation Mask enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token, then attach Immolation Mask to it. Okay. And then equipped creature has sacrificed this creature, deals 1 damage to any target. And then equip 2. That is probably the most pointless, stupid thing I've seen so far in this entire set. I mean, if you grab something with active treason and slap the mask on it, okay. Other than that, I mean, 1 damage? 1 damage. This isn't even on color for aristocrats. This is terrible. So next up we got Spectral Sailor. It's a 1/1 for 1. Boy, everything in the set either costs 7 or 1. What the hell? So it's a flash creature. It has flying, and if you pay for it, you draw a card. That's what we needed to help out Esper Control even more. Overall, this is a pretty good card. I'm just disgusted by what decks I already know it'll go in. So next up we got Wolfkin Bond. And it's a 5-cost aura enchant creature. When Wolfkin Bond enters battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, which is good because 5-cost auras tend to get blown up real quick, and then you lose 2 cards. And then enchanted creature gets +2/+2. So overall for 5, not even close to worth casting at all. Even if you're going Wolf Tribal, even if that's a thing in the set, still not good enough. So next up we got Nightpack Ambusher. Oh look, it's Wolf. It's a 4/4 for 4, and it has flash. That's fun. A lot of wolves have flash. I don't know if you guys noticed that was a thing over the history of Magic. And other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1. Oh, got a Lord card. Yay. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, oh, they're bringing that back. Create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. I do like fun little guards, you know, over, oh, it's turn 15 and I'm drawing a land, and then a land, and then a land. Well, at least you get a green wolf. Or just cast a bunch of ambush boost instant stuff on their turn. And then you're not casting anything on your turn. I still think this wolf deck looks like such a just gimme deck you would build for somebody new to the game. I don't think it's going to be a serious deck. Next up, oh, look, another artifact. It's Manifold Key. It's a 1-drop artifact, which is always worrying because artifact synergy and affinity is problematic throughout the entire history of the game. And if you pay 1, you can tap it and untap another target artifact. Oh, here we go. That's what we need. My tap dance deck in standard. Oh my gosh. Then you can pay 3 and target creature can't be blocked this turn. Great. Awesome. 2 of my favorite effects. Artifacts are just do-nothing filler so far in the set, so I heavily suspect that this is printed for the next set. Next up, Steel Overseer. It's a 1/1 for 2 artifact creature construct, and it's rare. And you can tap it and put a 1/1 counter on each artifact creature you control. There we go. Now it's broken. That is beyond ridiculously broken. Like, words cannot describe how a 2-drop 1/1 that can tap for no f***ing mana can put a 1/1 counter on everything once per turn. Oh, and you can untap him. Basically, the game's over turn 4. You won't be able to stop even a servo army. I wish this card was fake. I mean, they're probably going to have to ban this. You can't put counters on every creature you control for free. You can't do that. What the actual hell were they thinking? What about this seemed fair? So if you're thinking, oh no, this card isn't as powerful as you think. It was printed in M11 and it's $20. And it was a rare, a $20 rare from a core set. They made this card a masterpiece in Kaladesh, in case you forgot. So they're taking a Commander in Modern top tier grade card and dropping it into Standard and just hoping nothing bad happens. What the actual hell were they thinking? When clearly we know that the next set is going to be in something to do with artifacts. I mean, I'd be shocked if even the next 4 aren't. Oh, here's a fun fact for you. The quote on the bottom, the world is already run by all manner of machines. One day they'll remind us of that from Sargas Haas, an artificer. He lives on Chandalar. You know, the rogue plane that floats around and can only be traveled to from other planes, something like that. I think we haven't been back there in like 20 years or something. Wow, what an unusual and random reference to put on a hyper-powerful card that everybody knows about. So that's right, according to my prediction, after we go to, according to the staff, a brand new plane that we've never seen before after M20, then we're going to, let's see, Theros, Chandalar, New Phyrexia, and I might have said Lorwyn too. So we're going to all of them at once in one set. There we go. You might have figured out my strategy is if I just guess every plane, I can say I was right, because one of them will be. So anyway, moving on from this disgrace to the game, we've got another dinosaur for some reason. What is up with dinosaurs? Just drop the dinosaurs, okay? It's a 5/4 for 4. Apparently they didn't know that in 3 months 6 lands cycling out. And apparently some of you still don't know that it's not for 3 months, so we're going to have these simultaneously in play at the same time. Anyway, this spell can't be countered. Fantastic. Protection from blue. Great. F you too. And it's pay 1 green and it gains your choice of reach, trample, or haste until end of turn. Great. That's great. So yeah, 5/4 for 4 with your choice of whatever ability you want. You can grant them all of it. That's a little much. Pro blue, I mean, whatever. You wouldn't really tend to do anything that involves blue to this. I mean, bounce it back to hand, I guess you can't do now. But it can't be countered. So, like, against blue, this just wins, I guess. But nobody really plays, like, blue creatures on defense right now. Everyone's just splash blue except for mono blue, which then you'll just get Pteramanders flying over your head and you're dead. So, and a Pteramander can kill this even if you give it reach. So that's a problem. Whatever, I still think this is a little much. Next up, we got Cerulean Drake. It's a 1/1 for 3, 2. I got a lot of sleep last night. And it's flying. It has protection from red because, of course, it does. That one actually makes sense, okay, because red would try to blow this up or block it. And then sacrifice Cerulean Drake and counter target spell that targets you. This is what should have been printed on that stupid Siren, that overpowered card that's enabling mono blue. Oh, by the way, this costs 0 to activate that. That's crazy. This is like arguably better than Judge's Familiar. That card's amazing. And if you thought they were done with the crazy, oh no, I've got a card for you. Icon of Ancestry. It's in Portuguese because of course it is. So it's a 3-drop artifact, and as Icon of Ancestry enters battlefield, choose a creature type. Of course, creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1. So it's a universal tribal booster in colorless when basically every major tribal in this entire set already has a Lord card, as they call it, which is a +1/+1 granter. Elementals are going to be ridiculous with this card. And yeah, they printed stuff like this before, but not on top of that many Lord cards and that much passive boost. And then we've got counter drop and proliferate in some of the tribals. I mean, this is ridiculous. Oh, and fun fact, not legendary, because nothing is allowed to be legendary anymore. But wait, there's more. If you pay 3 and tap it, look at the top 3 cards of your library, you may reveal a creature card of the chosen type from among them, put it in your hand. So it's free freaking tribal draw. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. This card. The best thing is the answer for all tribal decks is already in standard right now. Just non-stop control draw board wipe. You got overpowered like turn 5 20 damage tribal bullshit versus you can't have creatures on the field. Wow, what a fun and interesting dynamic matchup. I can't wait to play those games. So next up, if you thought the crazy can't be turned up to 11 still, you are wrong. We've got Lotus Field. Now when it comes to this card, people are drastically exaggerating and overreacting because it has the word Lotus in it. Apparently that triggers people. None of those Lotuses are black in the artwork. They all look pinkish white. Just saying. So it's a land, it's hexproof, and it enters the battlefield tapped. Wow. And then when it enters the battlefield, sacrifice 2 lands. And then you can tap it and add 3 mana of any one color. One color. So it comes in tap, so there goes the use of 1 land for the turn. You sacrifice 2 other lands, so there goes 2 more, so you're out 3 mana. And then this taps the next turn for 3 mana. Oh, but it can only all be 1 color. So I mean, okay, you're only blowing up 2 lands, so if they share a type, whatever. But in like a 2 or 3 color deck, this would be a pretty heavy detriment. So all you get is a net 0 and then like a net 1. What? I've got an idea. Play a basic land. Let's run that scenario. Okay, you've got a mountain and a swamp. And instead of this useless piece of garbage, you play another swamp. You can bring it in untapped and use 3 mana that turn. And then from now on, you have a 3 mana base. Oh, and you have 2 black sources and 1 red. So, okay, let's rewind the clock. You got 1 swamp, 1 mountain, and you play this idiotic card. It comes in tap, so there goes 1 mana. You have to sacrifice your mountain and your swamp, so there goes the entire rest of your mana base. You can do absolutely nothing that turn, and then next turn you have 3 mana available in your total mana base. Oh, but it can only be 1 color at a time, so you can only cast mono spells. So you gain nothing and you lose 1 turn worth of mana. Then, okay, the entirety of your mana base at that point is hexproof. Yippee skippy. This is useful in a grand total of 2 decks. 1, anything that runs Crucible of Worlds, where it says you may play land cards from your graveyard, because then, you know, the next turn and the next turn you would get them back. That's still pretty damn slow in a roundabout dumb way to ramp. And then the second deck is anything that cares how many lands are in your graveyard, which would be mostly cards from M20. So I guess I fully expect to see this in that deck, but also that deck looks weak as hell and I don't think people will build it. So I don't know, $2 card tops. I mean, is there something I'm missing from like some legacy deck I've never heard of? If I do, honestly, I don't care. I mean, this would trigger like a leave the battlefield effect. It could be used with Delve. I'm reaching pretty far for this and I'm not grabbing anything. So this card does not rustle my jimmies at all. I don't know why anybody's got their undies in a bundle over this. You're welcome, all non-English speakers who did not get any of those references. And finally, we've got Le Coffre de la Devineresse. Probably just devineresse. None of the vowels at the end of any word in French mean anything. In fact, the ESSE is probably silent. It's probably just devinaire. Okay, devinaire. They're happy. I actually do kind of know how to pronounce French somewhat okay. I just decided to turn it off for these videos because it's way funnier. But anyway, mythicspoiler.com seems to think that the title of this is Treasure Chest. I know enough Spanish and Latin to know that that's not what that says. So I pulled up the translator. No wonder I didn't know this word. It's Coffre of the Soothsayer, which, if you think about it, is about as far away from the phrase treasure chest as you could possibly get. But I don't know, they could call it whatever they want in English, who knows? They don't go for consistency, they go for like localization. There is a big difference. So this is a 4-cost artifact, and you pay 1, tap it, choose a card name, then reveal the top card of your library. If this card has the chosen name, yeah, right. People can't even hit that with that Planeswalker that does 4. Sacrifice treasure chest, allegedly, and draw 3 cards. This is such a soothsayer effect. What the hell? Activate this ability only when you could play a sorcery. And you have to tap it so they get 1 shot at it unless you want to untap it. So unless you specifically put the card on top of your library, you ain't grabbing it. Okay, cool. You get the card and the 2 under it because it says draw 3, but then you have to sacrifice Coffre of the Soothsayer. I'm going to stop calling it a treasure chest. They should have just called the card Let's Make a Deal, where like you got to pick doors and stuff. That's a reference for people even older than I am. They could have put Monty Hall right on the artwork. So this is one of the dumber cards I've seen, for sure. And I do believe that flavor text in the bottom translates to, and remember my French isn't that good, if you give me narcotics and chalk, I will light them on fire and ferment them in front of your view. It's something like that. So that's it for the spoilers so far today. I am just absolutely livid over Steel Overseer. That is going to be so stupidly problematic. I mean, the number of actually good playable artifact creatures is so ridiculously low. I don't think anybody's going to build it yet. But as we get more and more and more sets released, remember, Steel Overseer is legal for like a year and a half. We're going to get more artifacts in all likelihood. And as soon as they do like some little servo thing or some little spam artifacts, bring them out multiple at a time, the game's over. It'll just be Steel Overseer. And if you're going to go, colorless artifacts, what color are you going to pair it with? Well, it's BFF Blue, who has artificers and counterspells. So people will be able to protect this. They will be able to do untap loops, tap manipulation loops. Wow, they really shouldn't have printed that. That's utterly ridiculous. Now, they could just not touch artifact creatures for the next 4 sets because of this. And this is just an irrelevant to standard money reprint to prop up the price of a crappy core set that isn't worth anything. That said, it's pre-ordering at $5.99. So if you thought you've seen some really obnoxious, poorly designed, poor reprint choices and just obscenely overpowered new cards, especially Chandra, I really don't think anything topped that yet. We're only at 119 out of 280. Buckle up, mother. Can you hear it? Can you hear Mark Rosewater saying, hold my beer? At this point, I think I and everyone have just utterly given up on the standard meta for the next 3 months after this drops, and then we're going to get a rotation. So I'm really more concerned about cards that are like islands that by themselves are going to be a problem, like, Scarab God was, where it doesn't matter what the rest of the deck is. It's just too powerful in a vacuum, and that's exactly how I would honestly describe Steel Overseer as well as Chandra, because she can't be countered and then she just generates an emblem that you can't get rid of. There's nothing you can do. That is so completely stupid and bad design, unfriendly, unfun. I can't wait to see what else is in this set. At least we've already seen the vast majority of the mythics. And most of them are filler jank, so whatever. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.